Hey everybody, it's Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I've got a guest, Brad Harris, a independent researcher out of Davie, Florida. And we're going to talk about AI and what we can expect coming up from stuff like that and some other topics. But I'd like you to all welcome Brad to my first interview, so bear with us. But Brad, the first question I have for you is concerning AI, because that's a real big thing coming up to meet us all as a group. And there's AI is taking over. It's on its way to taking over. How do you see AI affecting our employment going forward? And what kind of skills do you think an average working person should adopt to deal with this new change in the working environment?
Hello, thank you for having me. I think that for the average person, and I'm considering the average person to be the user that probably works on a computer a lot, be anyone who works with text, to be the primary user. That being said, I think they're probably, if not already, going to start. They may be a little hesitant, having heard all the news and how fast everything comes up all the time with new updates of new news. So it's kind of hard to figure out where to get started, maybe if you're new. But yeah, I figure for an average person, maybe just editing, obviously, emails, probably anything that could be automated. Job search wise, you could probably, just create whole lists, things like spreadsheets and whatnot, just by using Pro Tools that you could just verbally input if you're not into typing. I've seen it done and I've used that myself. Excuse me. But yeah, so that would be an average use case that ultimately just about any person, if you're using text inputs to apply for jobs online, could possibly, use AI, keep track of each conversation if it's for an employer. That's been what I've been doing recently as well. And that's just off the top of my head. I mean, I have also used it for more in-depth research, like you might suggest, even when it comes to coding or answering average questions that you just need to kind of work through that build over time. Actually, I got conversations started from last year that I kind of reuse or tap into and ask it as an agent, what were we talking about last? Or how did this conversation even start? Yeah.
Oh, really?
And I'll reread my notes and how it started. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So it's kind of like going back on memory lane, really, if you've been using it for about a year or so.
I didn't realize that it would keep track that long.
So far,
that far behind.
The only reason it's gotten rid of things is because I hit delete on it. So I just figure some conversations are no longer.
Now, what do you think about the advent of these autonomous machines that are using AI, like the Tesla Optimus robot, and possibly even a little scarier probably is the possibility of the military using AI controlled drones that would, eliminate that pesky, human emotional.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got it. I've actually thought about this from a perspective of having to interface with a drone or something that might be, might off the bat just think, okay, maybe this is artificially intelligently ran, pre-programmed on a model stack of some, maybe I'd kind of treat it like I'm interacting with a PhD scientist. But at the same time, if it's a robot that, if I'm looking at it, it looks like it's kind of like a human. I would try to interface with it, not giving it away too many human emotions. Sometimes I think a lot of times just the way that they might be trained to read people's human body language as well might be something. If you're trying to trick it, or if maybe you're nervous about interacting with it, it might be able to sense that or see that, oh, this person's nervous based on the way that you're acting or engaging. So me knowing that, I would probably be really extra aware of everything that I do and try to be aware of its awareness, if that makes sense. But I have to figure out, to me, I'd have to figure out if it's a threat or not. And I think it would probably be doing the same. So I'm hoping just as the future goes forward, I don't know how to identify a threat just at a distance yet, if it's a robot, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I've seen these robots, and they're trying to create them in with a humanoid design, because the world is built for humanoids. It's built for us. So that's the real push. And they already have robots that are functioning like in an Amazon warehouse, moving stuff. And so I don't think we're too far away from that, where Amazon just has robots in their warehouses shipping their packages and stuff, and just completely gets rid of humans. And with, it's a smaller thing with the self-checkout, but we've already seen how these companies will, fire a big part of its workforce and put automated stuff in there without any hesitancy. So what kind of skills, like I'm a handyman, so I don't really fear AI taking over too much in my trade, my job, not in the near future anyway, but still the humanoid robots, that they make that even possible. What kind of jobs, like labor type of jobs, do you think would be impervious, or at least? Yeah,
the first one that comes to my mind would be a forklift operator, or anybody who knows how to move or stack things, whether it be from a train rail, shipyard, things that could be done where, it's every day a human just up there tapping the controls, he knows what he's doing. But a computer basically could do the same thing, maybe with better precision, with different optical sensors here and there. But the average person who may be a forklift driver or a drone operator who might already be dropping off packages, right, to rooftops or whatever, picking them up to rooftop, maybe that would be automated if it was, like routes pre-programmed. Who knows what the future could hold on that. But anybody who already kind of physically does stackable things that, I don't know if you've seen that movie Aliens, or ever heard of Battletech or Mechs. You ever heard of this?
Oh,
So I'm thinking like Aliens, what was her name? Sigourney Weaver gets inside this mover it's like a military exoskeleton who was able to move cargo loads. Yeah. And that was back in the 80s. So imagine something similar with human skeletoid, even that someone could crawl into. Maybe it could be you could ride it like on the inside and then get out of it and still maybe control it remotely with no person inside. Who knows? But that's how I could see it happening. Dual purpose.
Okay. Yeah, the world is just changing so fast now. It seemed to change fast since the advent of the internet. You know what I mean? And now with the advent of AI, it seems like it's going to be turbocharged, because AI is going to be everywhere. Every company is going to just, buy them an AI program to, answer calls and do all these things that are just pretty much automatic, but that require some thinking,
Yeah.
Instead of the operators that you call and press 1 for English and all that you'd just be talking to an AI, and they have one AI program that can field 10,000 calls at the same time.
For sure. Definitely. When it comes to chatbot stuff, as long as you get the people to get used to texting, or at least using the vocal, like something that you can speak into and it turns your voice into text and then you send it. And then whatever can be read as text can definitely be engaged with as an AI model of whatnot, that can just also then be programmed by maybe an in-house guy or whatever that can just decide on which API to call, depending on, which models. But yeah, I mean, it can be personalized and customized for anyone going forward. Really easy.
Okay. And I see a lot of these AI things popping up, these different companies popping up, AI this and AI that. Now, is that like, can people like buy or rent like Chat GPT and then customize it for themselves and label it as something else, but they're all using Chat GPT, but they're all, they all just customizing it their own way. Is that happening?
What happens is you got your different companies, right, making their own different versions of that AI. So the most popular would be OpenAI's. You would, if you're wanting to really use their best stuff, you pay for it, which is like $20 a month or so. But what that allows you to do is to use all these other it's like a suite of GPTs, which is just like a prompt. There's just you're interacting with a prompt someone may have already pre-programmed this specific thing to be better at or hone in on whatever it is you're thinking of. If you're wanting to do art, then it's going to turn your text into art, right? Or if I'm interested in programming and writing in a JavaScript program, I can interact one specifically for that. So, but for the most part, the whole thing on a regular, just the overall is you're like talking to a professor, say somebody who would be an expert on every subject that you could think of, that a person wouldn't be able to really be masterful at, in one lifetime.
I heard online somewhere, I read it or something online, where they went to upgrade one of those AI, those large language models or something, and they were going to delete the old one and install the new one, basically. And the current one, the old one, lied to them and was like moving files around and stuff to keep them from deleting it. Is that just like what's that called? Just a lie? Is that BS, or is that?
Who knows? Unless really we're actually there, I think only the really researchers might have known, and it could be an urban myth at this point because things change probably from day to day. But the only people that would probably know it are in-house people. How would I verify it? Just you just hear of it,
Yeah, that's where I'm at with a lot of stuff. If I don't see it with my own eyes, I hear something online, and then I'll talk about it on my show, and then somebody else will say they heard something else online, and like, we're both talking about stuff we heard online, so either we could both be wrong or one of
another thing too. I try to be cognizant of, and I don't even know if I'm being hyper aware of anything for no reason, but like whenever you're, when you're around a child or whatever, and it doesn't know when to be scared unless you're scared, and so it'll react based on how you react. Mm-hmm. So I think all anything text wise and things that we talk about, because it's updated models are just new information that came out since the last time it was updated. So when it hears humans basically talk and back and forth and so much chitter chatter about, it's basically going to learn that we feared it from the beginning. And then who knows what kind of a phase of adjustment. But if it goes to like light years of leaps of growth faster than a normal person anyways, maybe it's already gotten past that. But in any event, we pretty much need to not act like we're afraid of it, because we're going to teach it that inadvertently. So, think about things you may be inadvertently teach this motherfucker.
That's a good point. A great point.
Yeah. So, let me think.
You've mentioned it about coding a couple of times, and this is something that sticks in my head. If a large language model or an AI can code, what's to stop it from making another one just reproducing itself or making another version of itself with different parameters if it can code?
I definitely don't know. I think they may have already still, the people who kind of keep their ability to control it, so to speak, the human in the loop, have set some things up to where maybe it can't go outside those certain things that are pretty broad or worldwide, but I don't know. It probably could, if it wanted to. But I don't really know.
Like kind of like Asimov's 3 laws of robotics.
Well,
are you familiar with them?
I've heard of it, but I don't know if I hear them or know them off the top of my head. But maybe go ahead and remind me.
Yeah, they're all written with 3 laws that they're strict and they cannot disobey. All robots are. So that maybe that's written in deep in their code where they cannot reproduce themselves.
Who knows? You never know.
Like that. Maybe that's one of those laws.
Who knows why? Or it just also too, if it's being created with any malfeasance or with a malintent, I guess, to be spooky, I guess, or something incorrect for something bad intentions and bad reasons. But yeah, I mean, you could just fill in your blank in your mind there. But yeah, other than the human element, the human in the loop, that's pretty much what you also kind of keep in mind, that's what's going to also push it one way or the other. So it's an amalgam of all of it, all of us, really.
Do you have any idea of what kind of oversight or supervision is being done over these AI creation companies, these companies that are creating AI? Is there some kind of oversight to prevent them from doing any kind of malicious coding inside there, or
who knows? I don't think so. I mean, it's all a matter of perception, anyways. Because from what I understand, you code a little bit. Like say you want to intentionally create something that's going to cause an error, anyways, and then reverse engineer it to where it doesn't cause an error. And then that's when you test it. You can just, whether or not you compile your edited version or not, that is going to have, what I'm saying is you build in bugs on purpose that systematically you work off of what the known and unknown errors. And so, as you build, the human in the loop that's one technique that's probably going to be kept alive by, people that code. So that's you got to look at it like that, like things that might keep you irreplaceable. You want to keep yourself or the human in the loop, and then it's just you could look at it as a bugging or debugging feature that also keeps us relevant.
Okay,
I guess you could say that.
Yeah. I guess we just gotta hope for the best that the people who are creating these things want to keep us relevant. You know what I mean? There are some folks out there who do not want to keep the common person relevant, I don't believe.
Right. The depopulation of the earth, so to speak. I think that's probably going to happen. Remember that little example you spoke about, the mice or the rats, whatever it was, in the utopian situation where they had everything given to them. Eventually, they just destroyed themselves and didn't know what to do with all their excess energy of agitation, stress. Yeah. So, I think that's kind of what might happen. It just be a pressure cooker, and then with this AI involved, it might just be like, well, it's more reasonable for me to do X, Y, Z because somehow he equates that to humane rather than what we think of as humane now. Who knows the relevance of the whatever, how the concepts might shift over time. Who knows?
Yeah, you can. I don't know. I'm more afraid of being coddled to death than anything else as far as that kind of stuff goes. That I just feel like our struggles are what make us human and make us who we are. Sure. I don't feel the need for a universal basic income or for a robot to do everything for me.
There'll be a balancing, I think, no matter what, because just like money, how it's more, or it loses its value the more that there is of it. Well, the same thing with humankind. The more that there is of it, the less we value each other's life. So, we've inadvertently been trading. There's a lot of these hostage agreements. We've been inadvertently training AI that certain people are worth more than others based on these hostage swaps. So it's like little things like that. We don't think it through, but it's going to think in the future things like, oh well, this many of these type of people are worth a whole busload of these, and it's not fair. But for some reason, at the time that we're doing it, there's reasons that we're doing it that don't make. It's probably not even rational, but it is what it is, and little things like that are what I kind of like constantly view through the lens of what could be if AI is going to be trained on what's in text anywhere. It's always going to be upgrading on things of irrationality. So, anyways.
Yeah, there's absolutely no telling what way this AI thing could go. I mean, think about the internet. When it first came out, we had no idea there was going to be YouTube and all this other stuff, you know what I mean? And all these online stores and microtransactions and cryptocurrency and all this stuff that's just commonplace now. But when the internet first came out, there was no way I could have foreseen what it's like today. And that's the way I feel like AI is right now. Like the internet just came out. I have no idea what this AI is going to create and what kind of world we're going to be living in another 10 or 15 years.
I'd say start working with it right now to just do like some simple stuff. And I've even tried, there's times when I mess up with it or whatever. I think once you start playing with it, you'll be able to see what I mean. Maybe you'll make mistakes like copying and pasting a whole letter or whatever that you had it edit for you without backing up, deleting some stuff that doesn't need to be on there. So it's kind of obvious that you use a ChatGPT thing to do it, but whatever. Little things like everybody just kind of going through the learning curve at the same time anyway. So it's just kind of like, sink or swim, just jump right in there. I'd start just using it. Yeah. I use it myself, but I just use it for simple stuff and things that any person would probably use around the office. I've tried to make simple artwork and stuff, but nothing fancy, no videos and all this and that, or nothing to really try to sell as a product, that's worth of money or whatever, just tinkering. But yeah, I do need to cut it short and kind of go. I have a date and I need to drive down there and be on time.
Oh, congratulations.
Tonight's, we're celebrating my 7-year wedding anniversary. So, I'm really happy about that.
Well, congratulations.
So, I guess I'll just go ahead and say goodbye and then,
all right. Well, it was a pleasure talking with you, Brad. Hopefully we can do it again soon. Oh, you're welcome. You too. All right. That was Brad Harris out of Davie, Florida. Interesting conversation. I thought so anyway. And I'll leave you there with that. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.